Now, protests in Turkey are continuing after the arrest of a key opposition figure. Police detained the Istanbul Mayor Ekrem Imamoglu on Wednesday on charges of corruption and aiding terrorist groups, just days before he was due to be selected as a presidential candidate.
Imamoglu appeared in court today, dismissing the allegations as immoral and baseless, with the protesters fast becoming a test to the country's democracy. William Gourlay is a Middle East analyst from Monash University, and he joins us now. Good morning, William.
Good morning, Catherine.
What do you make of the suggestions that Imamoglu's arrests are politically motivated?
I guess it comes down to the timing to some degree. As Fawzia noted, he was set to be announced as the CHP, the Republican People's Party's candidate for the next presidential election. And the political situation in Turkey has been growing increasingly authoritarian for some time. President Erdogan and his allies have recently made peace or announced a ceasefire arrangement with the PKK, which is kind of would appear to be sort of smoothing the political ground, but at the same time, the government has been carrying out various repressive measures against a range of opposition figures, and Imamoglu is certainly the most important of those, and certainly probably the most popular politician in Turkey after Erdogan, if not, in fact, the most popular.
Yeah, that is going to be my next question. I mean, you mentioned there that he has been arrested with many others. He is from the CHP, the Secular Republican People's Party. Just what sort of threat does he pose to Erdogan? Just how popular is he?
Well, he's very popular. Erdogan and the AKP government have made various attempts to undermine him and marginalise him in a political sense since his rise to prominence in the municipal elections or the mayoralty elections of 2019 in Istanbul. So he's extremely popular. And Erdogan loves to talk about milli irade, which means the national will. He's often portrayed his own political circumstances and his support as being a reflection of milli irade, the will of the people. So I guess like many authoritarian leaders, he's actually fearful of the people or the will of the people. And the very fact that Imamoglu has increased his popularity and has won subsequent elections with an increased margin as the mayor of Istanbul demonstrates that his popularity is considerable. And we would also note that while there have been student protests in support of Imamoglu, which might be expected, there have also been widening protests across the country, including from some more conservative towns, including Konya and Çorum, which are very perhaps religiously conservative inclined voters. So the fact that populations in these towns and across the country indeed are rising up indicate that Imamoglu is extremely popular.
Yeah, we've been running some of those protest pictures live over when I've been speaking to you. You mentioned his popularity there. He's now set his sights on the presidential race. 1.5 million CHP members, I believe, are expected to vote Sunday Turkey time, so in the next 12 hours or so, to select their presidential candidate. He is their only candidate, but where does it leave him? He's arrested and he has also been stripped of his university degrees.
Yes, well, the stripping of the university degree is an important point because, again, I mean, it's an indication of the lengths that the ruling regime, the Erdogan government, will go to undermine him. Those who run for the presidency can only do so if they have a university degree. So that was, we can see that as another attempt to pull the rug from under the feet of Imamoglu. And it's interesting too, in that regard, I'm going on a bit of a tangent here, but there's great controversy as to whether Erdogan himself even has a university degree.
That's so.
That perhaps an issue we should leave for another discussion.
Yeah. Look, we will leave that there now as we have to move on. But it's a really interesting time for Turkey, an interesting test for their election system and democracy. We'll watch with keen interest. But for now, William Gourlay, Middle East analyst from Monash University, thank you for joining us this Sunday morning.
Thank you very much, Catherine.